Let's look at our first question from a past question paper. And in this question, they give us a diagram, the point P with coordinates K and 24. And this point is in the second quadrant, such that OP equals 25 units. Then the point N is a point on the positive x-axis, and angle PON is equal to theta. Now, what is extremely important here is that if they give you a diagram and they ask you after that to determine certain expressions, for example, sine theta, then you are not allowed to make use of your calculator. And as soon as they see that you've used your calculator, you will get no marks for the answer, even though it might be correct. So make sure that when a diagram is given, you do not make use of your calculator. So no decimal answers whatsoever. Let's first indicate all the important information on the diagram. They say the point P has coordinates K and 24, and it's a point in the second quadrant, such that OP is 25 units, and then N is a point on the positive x-axis, and angle PON is equal to theta. And now they ask us, without calculating the size of theta, determine the value of the following. And the first value that we need to determine is the value of K. Now, if we look at the sketch, we can connect the point P with a perpendicular line to the x-axis, and then K is the length of the horizontal side of this right-angled triangle. And since this is on the negative side of the x-axis, it means that K's value will have to be less than 0. And let's complete the rest of the right-angled triangle. If the y-coordinate of P is 24, it means that the vertical side of the triangle is 24. And then, of course, 25 is the hypotenuse of the triangle. To determine the value of K, we will make use of the theorem of Pythagoras. So we can say that x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. X is K, y is 24, and r is the hypotenuse, 25. So we put these values into the formula for Pythagoras. Then we get k squared plus 24 squared is equal to 25 squared. K squared is then equal to 49. We take the square root on both sides. And remember, a square root can be positive or negative. And in this case, we are going to use the negative value since k is on the negative side of the x-axis. And that gives us then that k is equal to negative 7. This question counted 2 marks. You get 1 mark for the correct substitution into the theorem of Pythagoras, and then 1 mark for k equals negative 7. In the next question, we need to determine the value for tan theta. And remember, we are not allowed to determine the value of theta because we can only do that using our calculators. So we have to use the triangle to determine tan theta. And we know that tan of theta is equal to the opposite side divided by the adjacent side, or in this case, y over x. And we know that the value of y is 24. We determined the value of x in the previous question. It's negative 7. And therefore, tan of theta is equal to negative 24 over 7. And for this answer, you get 1 mark. In the third question, they tell us that we have to determine the value of sine alpha if theta plus alpha is equal to 360 degrees. Now, they've indicated theta on the sketch, and if theta plus alpha is equal to 360 degrees, it means that alpha has to be this angle, so it's basically completing the revolution. We can write then that theta plus alpha is 360 degrees, and that means alpha is equal to 360 degrees minus theta. sine of alpha will then equal sine of 360 degrees minus theta. And this is in the fourth quadrant, and in the fourth quadrant, sine is negative. So we can say that sine of alpha is equal to negative sine of theta. And now we go to the triangle again. Sine of theta is y over r. That's the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. And that gives us negative 24 over 25. So sine of alpha is then equal to negative 24 over 25. This question counted 3 marks. You get 1 mark for sine alpha equals sine 360 degrees minus theta, 1 mark for negative sine theta, and 1 mark for the correct answer. In the final question, we need to determine cos squared theta minus sine squared alpha. We can determine cos of theta from the sketch. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, so we take negative 7 and we divide it by 25. And then, since it says cos squared theta, we square this fraction. Then we have to subtract sine squared alpha. And from the previous question, we know that sine alpha is equal to negative 24 over 25. So we square negative 24 over 25. This then gives us 49 over 625 minus 576 over 625. And this simplifies to negative 527 over 625. This question also counted 3 marks. You get 1 mark for the correct substitution of cos theta, 1 mark for the correct substitution of sine alpha, and 1 mark for the final answer. In the next question, they give us the following. Cos of 75 degrees is equal to m. And we have to express each of the following in terms of n, showing all our working. Now let's first do the following. If they say that cos of 75 degrees is equal to m, we can change m to a fraction and write it as m over 1. And the reason that we do that is we are going to draw a right angled triangle. And in this right angled triangle, we are going to make one of the acute angles 75 degrees, and then the adjacent side of the 75 degrees will be m, and the hypotenuse will be 1, because cos is always the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. And then we can complete the rest of the triangle. If the one acute angle is 75 degrees, the other acute angle has to be 15 degrees, using the properties of the interior angles of a triangle. And now we want to determine the opposite side of 75 degrees, and I'm going to label it as y. Now to determine that, we can use the theorem of Pythagoras. Remember, the theorem of Pythagoras states that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides of the triangle. So we can say then that y squared is equal to 1 squared, that's the hypotenuse squared, minus m squared. And if we take the square root on both sides, we get that y is equal to the square root of 1 minus m squared. And now we can look at the first question. Now they want us to first determine cos squared of 105 degrees in terms of m. And the trick here is to take the 105 degrees and rewrite it in terms of 75 degrees. So we can say that 105 degrees is 180 degrees minus 75 degrees. So cos squared of 105 degrees is then equal to cos of 180 degrees minus 75 degrees squared. And we know that cos of 180 degrees minus 75 degrees will lie in the second quadrant. And in this quadrant, cos is negative. So we can rewrite this then as negative cos 75 degrees squared. And it was given to us that cos of 75 degrees is equal to m, and negative m squared is equal to positive m squared. This question counted 2 marks. You get 1 mark for negative cos 75 degrees and 1 mark for m squared. In the next question, we have to determine the sine of 15 degrees, and we've already completed the triangle. So now we can determine sine of 15 degrees working from the 15-degree angle. And we can say that sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So this will be equal to m over 1. And that gives us a final answer of m. And this question also counted 2 marks. You get 1 mark if you completed the triangle correctly, and then 1 mark for the answer m. Lastly, we need to determine tan of 15 degrees. And we can do that again by working from the triangle. Tan is opposite over adjacent. So tan is then equal to m divided by the square root of 1 minus m squared. This question counted 2 marks, and you get 2 marks for the final answer. In the next question, we have to simplify the given fraction without using a calculator. And that means that we are going to make use of the Gauss diagram together with reduction formulas and special angles. So let's draw the Gauss diagram, and then we start by looking at sine of 120 degrees. 120 degrees is in the second quadrant. So we are going to rewrite 120 as 180 degrees minus 60 degrees. Then cos of 210 degrees. 210 degrees is in the third quadrant, so we can rewrite this as 180 degrees plus 30 degrees. Then tan of 315 degrees. 315 degrees is in the fourth quadrant, and we can then rewrite this as tan of 360 degrees minus 45 degrees. Cos of 27 degrees, we are going to leave like it is first, since this is in the first quadrant. Then, in the denominator, we have sine of 63 degrees. This is already an acute angle. And then lastly, cos of 540 degrees. Now 540 degrees is equal to 360 degrees, that's one full revolution, plus another 180 degrees. So this can then be written as cos of 360 degrees plus 180 degrees. And now we can simplify this further. Sine of 180 minus 60 degrees can be written as sine of 60 degrees, since sine is positive in the second quadrant. Cos of 180 plus 30 degrees is in the third quadrant, and cos is negative in the third quadrant, so we can write this as negative cos 30 degrees. Tan of 360 minus 45 degrees is in the fourth quadrant. Tan is negative in the fourth quadrant, so this can be written as negative tan 45 degrees. And now, very important, if we go and look at cos 27 degrees in the numerator and sine of 63 degrees in the denominator, 27 plus 63 gives us 90 degrees. So these two angles are complementary angles, and then we can make use of cofunctions to simplify this. So we can say that cos of 27 degrees is equal to cos of 90 degrees minus 63 degrees, and that is equal to sine of 63 degrees. So cos of 27 can then be written as sine of 63 degrees. And then lastly, in the denominator, we have cos of 360 degrees plus 180 degrees, and this we can write as the cos of 180 degrees. Now if we look at the fraction, we can cancel sine of 63 degrees in the numerator and denominator, and then we are left with ratios that contains only special angles. 60, 30, 45 degrees, and then 180 degrees in the denominator. So now we can draw our special triangles, and from this we can determine that the sine of 60 degrees is square root 3 over 2. Negative cos 30 degrees is negative square root 3 over 2. Negative tan 45 degrees is negative 1. And we divide all of this by the cos of 180 degrees. And the cos of 180 degrees is equal to negative 1. And all of this can simplify to negative 3 over 4. And this is the final answer. Now let's look at the mark allocation for this question. This question counted 7 marks. You get 1 mark for sine of 60 degrees, 1 mark for negative cos 30 degrees, 1 mark for negative tan 45 degrees, 1 mark for either changing cos 27 degrees to sine 63 or changing sine 63 to cos 27 degrees. Then 1 mark for cos 180 degrees, 1 mark for using the special angle ratios, and 1 mark for the final answer. In the next question, we have to prove the identity 1 over cos theta minus cos theta over 1 plus sine theta equals tan theta. Now, the most important thing when you have to prove an identity is to start by dividing this identity into 2 different expressions. So we divide this into the left-hand side, that's equal to 1 over cos theta minus cos theta over 1 plus sine theta, and the right-hand side equals tan theta. Now there are 2 very important identities that we can use when solving this, and the first one is the quotient identity that states that tan of theta is equal to sine theta over cos theta. And then the square identity that says sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1. And remember, this can be used in 2 other forms as well. We can make sine squared the subject of the equation, and then we have sine squared theta equals 1 minus cos squared theta, or we can make cos squared theta the subject of the identity, and then cos squared theta is equal to 1 minus sine squared theta. So let's begin to simplify the left-hand side, and the first thing that we can do is to write both of these fractions as one single fraction. And the common denominator for this fraction is cos theta multiplied by 1 plus sine theta. And if we look at the first fraction, the denominator has to be multiplied by 1 plus sine theta, so we multiply the numerator 1 also by 1 plus sine theta. Then, in the second fraction, we multiplied the denominator by cos theta, so we do the same with the numerator. And then we have negative cos theta times cos theta, and that equals negative cos squared theta. And now we have 1 plus sine theta minus cos squared theta in the numerator. In the denominator, we have 1 plus sine theta, and in the numerator, we can take 1 and the minus cos squared theta and replace it by sine squared theta, since sine squared theta is equal to 1 minus cos squared theta. Now, the reason why we do that is that after we replaced 1 minus cos squared theta with sine squared theta, we have sine theta plus sine squared theta in the numerator, and this can be factorized as sine theta times 1 plus sine theta. And now the 1 plus sine theta in the numerator and the 1 plus sine theta in the denominator can cancel. And then we are left with sine theta over cos theta, and this equals tan theta, and this is exactly the right-hand side of the identity. So that means we've now proved the given identity. This question counted 5 marks, and you get marks for the following: 1 mark for the common denominator, 1 mark for 1 minus cos squared theta, 1 mark for the simplification, 1 mark for the correct factors, and then 1 mark for sine theta over cos theta. In the next question, we have to determine the general solution of 3 sine x equals 2 tan x. And the general solution for this equation means that we want to find all the points of intersection of the two graphs, 3 sine x and 2 tan x. So what we do first is we use the quotient identity, and we can then say that tan x on the right hand side is equal to sine x over cos x. And then we get rid of the denominator cos x by multiplying both sides of this equation by cos x. Then we have 3 sine x times cos x equals 2 sine x. And now we make one side of the equation 0, so we take over the 2 sine x to the left-hand side, and then we have 3 sine x times cos x minus 2 sine x equals 0. And this can be factorized. We can take out the sine x, and then we get sine x times 3 cos x minus 2 equals 0. And now we put the factors equal to 0, so that means sine x is equal to 0, or 3 cos x minus 2 is equal to 0. Sine x is equal to 0 if x is equal to 0, or if x is equal to 180 degrees. So our first solution then is x equals 0 degrees plus k times 360 degrees, and k is an element of integers. And this simplifies to k times 360 degrees. Or we said sine x is also 0 if x is equal to 180 degrees. And then we also add k times 360 degrees, and k is an element of integers. Now let's look at the second factor. We also have that 3 cos x minus 2 equals 0. And if we make cos x the subject of the equation, cos x is equal to 2 over 3. And from there we can determine the reference angle. Remember, the reference angle is cos inverse of positive 2 over 3, and that is 48,19 degrees. And now we look at the equation again. Cos x is equal to positive 2/3. And in which quadrants will cos be positive? Cos is positive in the first and the fourth quadrants. So in the first quadrant, we will say then that x is equal to 48.19 degrees, the reference angle, plus 360 degrees times k, where k is an element of integers. But cos is also positive in the fourth quadrant. So in the fourth quadrant, x is equal to 360 degrees minus 48.19 degrees. And then we also add k times 360 degrees. And this gives us a final answer of 311.81 degrees plus k times 360. Let's look at the mark allocation for this question. This question counted 6 marks. You get 1 mark for using the quotient identity, sine x over cos x, 1 mark for the correct factors, 1 mark for the first general solution, 1 mark for both of the second general solutions, and then 1 mark if you wrote k elements of integers. Now we are going to look at a question where they give us a diagram in 3 dimensions. And in this diagram, we have right angle triangles. That's triangle PRQ and PSQ. And there is a triangle that is an obtuse triangle. That is triangle RQS. And they also tell us here that PQ is a vertical tower. QR and S are points on the same horizontal plane, And then the angle of elevation from R to P is theta. Angle QRS is equal to 120 degrees. And then side PQ and RS are equal, and they are equal to x. In right-angled triangles, when we want to determine either side lengths or the size of angles, we always use the trigonometric ratios for sine, cos, and tan. But if we have triangles that are not right-angled triangles, we can make use of the sine, cosine, and area rules to determine the lengths of sides and angles. Now let's look at the questions in the next slide. Let's indicate all the given information on the sketch. They say PQ is a vertical tower. QR and S are points on the same horizontal plane. So that means the triangle at the bottom, RQS, is horizontal. And then the angle of elevation from R to P is theta. QRS is 120 degrees and PQ equals RS equals X. In the first question, they ask us the following. They ask us to determine QR in terms of theta and x. QR is over here, and QR is part of two triangles, the right angle triangle, PQR, and the obtuse triangle, RQS. Now they ask us to determine QR in terms of theta and x, so that means we are going to make use of the right angle triangle at the top to determine the value of QR. And since it's a right angle triangle, we can make use of either sine, cosine, or tan. And if we work from theta, x is the opposite side, and QR that we want to determine is the adjacent side. So that means we can write that tan of theta is equal to x over QR. And now we simply have to make QR the subject of the equation, and then we get that QR is equal to x over tan theta. And this question counted 2 marks. You get 1 mark for tan theta equals x over QR and 1 mark for the correct answer. In the next question, they want us to show that QS is equal to x times the square root of 1 over tan squared theta plus 1 over tan theta plus 1. Now, let's first go and look where QS is in the sketch. QS is over here. It's again part of two triangles, triangle PQS and triangle RQS. Now we are going to make use of triangle RQS since we have the most information in this triangle. We have that angle QRS is 120 degrees. We have that the side RS is x, and we've just determined that QR is equal to x over tan theta. Since this is an obtuse triangle, we have to make use of either the sine or the cosine rule to determine QS. In this triangle, we have the lengths of two sides and the included angle, 120 degrees. And we want to determine QS that is directly opposite the 120 degrees. So that means we are going to make use of the cosine rule. We can then write that QS squared is equal to RS squared plus QR squared minus 2 times RS times QR times cos of angle R. And now we put the values into the equation. We know that RS is x, so this becomes x squared plus QR is x over tan theta, so QR squared is equal to x over tan theta squared minus 2 times RS, that's x, times QR, that's x over tan theta, times cos of angle R, and that is cos of 120 degrees. And now we can simplify. We can say that this is equal to x squared plus x squared over tan squared x minus 2x squared over tan theta. and then cos of 120 degrees is equal to negative a half. We can simplify this further. Becomes x squared plus x squared over tan squared theta plus x squared over tan theta. Now x squared is a common factor for this expression, so we can factorize, and this is then equal to x squared times 1 plus 1 over tan squared theta plus 1 over tan theta. And if we want to determine QS, we take the square root on both sides. So this becomes the square root of x squared times 1 plus 1 over tan squared theta plus 1 over tan theta. And we can take x squared out of the square root, since the square root of x squared is x, and then we get what we wanted to show. QS is then equal to x times the square root of 1 over tan squared theta plus 1 over tan theta plus 1. Let's look at the mark allocation for this question. This question counted 4 marks. You get 1 mark for using the cosine rule, 1 mark for negative a half, 1 mark for the correct simplification, and then 1 mark for taking the square root on both sides of the equation. In the last question, they give us the following. If x is 15 centimeters and theta is 22 degrees, calculate QS and angle QPS. In the previous question, we said that QS is equal to x times the square root of 1 over tan squared theta plus 1 over tan theta plus 1. So now we simply put these values into the equation, and then QS is equal to 15 times the square root of 1 over tan squared of 22 degrees plus 1 over tan of 22 degrees plus 1. And if we simplify this using our calculators, which we may use in this question, it gives us that QS is equal to 46.48 meters rounded to 2 decimal places. This question counted 2 marks. You get 1 mark for the correct substitution and 1 mark for the answer. Then we also have to determine angle QPS. Angle QPS is in triangle PQS, and if we determine tan of angle QPS, it's equal to the opposite side, and that is QS, divided by the adjacent side, PQ, but the length of PQ was given as x. And now we put the values into the equation. In the previous question, we determined that QS is 46.48. It's given to us that x is 15, so tan of angle QPS is equal to 46,48 over 15, and then to determine angle QPS, we take the inverse tan of this answer, and that gives us a size of 72,11 degrees. Let's look at the mark allocation for this question. This question counted 2 marks. You get 1 mark for using tan and 1 mark for the answer, 72.11 degrees.
And that's a wrap on today's fascinating journey through the world of knowledge. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our ever-growing community of curious minds. We can't wait to embark on new educational adventures together.